Hey everyone, it's Holly. Welcome back. If you are new, I do cooking, travel, homeschooling, and motherhood videos here on my channel. Today, I am very excited to be doing this particular video because I am celebrating reaching now over 4,000 subscribers on my channel. This is a milestone for my small channel to finally reach that amount of subscribers. I am truly grateful for everybody who has subscribed, everybody who supports. And in today's video, I wanted to do something fun. I wanted to do a get to know me video. I'm gonna be doing a question and answer today. These are questions I have been asked and I am extremely excited to be able to answer them and share with you a little bit more about myself. Let's jump into it right now. The first question I have here is, what made you decide to start a YouTube channel and when did you start? All right, those are two questions and I'm gonna start with the second half. I started in the year 2020. You guys all probably know that 2020 is a year that a lot of people started their YouTube channels because that was the year of COVID, the pandemic. That was the year a lot of people were stuck at home and they were looking for something new to do, some sort of outlet. That's kind of why I got involved with doing it. So yes, I did actually start in the year 2020. Why I got started with doing a YouTube channel? Well, that goes back even further. I actually had been thinking about doing a YouTube channel probably as early as 2018. I remember around that time, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos when I was trip planning, when I was planning vacations. I've always been a fan of videos that share what to expect when you go visit a place, how to pack, tips and tricks. And the more I watched these certain videos, the more I was thinking I would love to share with others things that I personally have learned from traveling to different places, how to pack, and things that I never knew about until I actually visited a certain place or location. I thought this is something I definitely want to do because I have done a lot of traveling and I'm hoping to do more traveling. That is something I always had kept in mind, that I want to do a channel someday. And not only for travel, but other things that I have learned in my 40 plus years of living, things that I have learned from being a mother and things that I have learned from overall past experiences. But back in 2018, it was just an idea. It was just something I was thinking I would like to do in the future. The timing never felt right. I was just way too busy. I knew that it was not the season of life for me to do it. I thought maybe when my kids are older and I have more time on my hands, I will eventually do it. But when it was 2020 and the pandemic hit and I was home more, that was the time that I felt very ready to start a channel. And also that year, or I should say that summer, I had so many people ask me about homeschooling because of COVID, because of all the stuff going on with schools. I had a lot of friends and some family members who had pulled their kids out of school, and I cannot tell you how many people had asked me questions about homeschooling. They were asking about curriculum and what do I use for this and so forth. That is when I thought, why not do videos sharing about things I've learned with homeschooling? Answer a lot of questions that people were asking me rather than try and just, send text messages back and forth to friends. That was one of the big pushes that got me going with starting a channel. And obviously I have done stuff with homeschooling, travel, cooking, motherhood in general. If you're wondering, by the way, what is the content of my channel? Well, it is family and it is life. It is a lifestyle channel, but mainly I talk about the core things that I feel passionate about, that bring me joy. I hope that explains it. I started my channel in 2020 and I started my channel for the reasons I explained. I wanted to share with others things that I have learned, and I have loved every minute of it. Well, there's some things I haven't loved about it, but for the most part, I enjoy doing this, and I look forward to doing it for several years to come now. All right, question number 2. What does the name of your channel, Walks with Holly, mean? All right, back to when I first started my channel in 2020, I was taking a lot of walks because a lot of things were closed. However, I was able to take walks. The weather was beautiful out, so I would take a lot of walks. And while I was taking these walks, That's when I started thinking about doing this channel. Eventually, I started vlogging myself while I took walks. I started just getting used to talking into the camera. And then gradually I got into filming myself talking about the certain topics I wanted to talk about on my channel. I actually thought that's what I was going to be doing on my channel. I would just take a walk and I would share different things. But then the whole direction changed as far as me always vlogging while I walked. One, I ended up learning more about editing and I started doing, a lot of stuff here in the home with my filming. It just wasn't going to work out for me to always do walks. Plus, the weather was going to get colder. I knew I wasn't going to be taking walks all the time. However, I really felt like the name was still going to work because to me, when I think of the word walks, I think of the walk of life. I think of life in general. I truly believe that it works, because it is a lifestyle channel for the most part. I don't know, you could agree or disagree. You might think the name is kind of cool. You might think the name is terrible. Walks with Holly is a life with Holly. All right, question number 3. Are you from Colorado originally? While I have lived in Colorado for many years, I am not originally from here. I am actually from Arizona. I was born and raised there. I lived in Arizona till I was almost 18 years old. And then I moved away. I lived in several different states until I eventually ended up here in Colorado. And out of all the different states I lived in, which by the way were Connecticut, New York, California, Nevada, North Carolina, obviously Arizona, then I ended up here in Colorado. And I must say, out of all the different places I've lived, Colorado has been my favorite. I just found when I came to Colorado, it was everything I was looking for. Yes, it is a landlocked state. I definitely miss being close to the ocean, the beach, but the mountains here are beautiful. The weather here is beautiful. We get so much sunshine here year round, yet at the same time, we still get seasons. We get beautiful springs. The summers are gorgeous. The fall is pretty. And then in the winter, we get snow, but we don't get snow that's like on the ground constantly. It'll like snow one day. We get to go play in it, and then a couple days later, it melts. So I found that Colorado just had the best of everything. Growing up in Arizona, I never got to experience seasons because I grew up, yes, in the deserty part of Arizona. I always wanted to live in a place and raise a family in a place that had seasons, and that is exactly what I have here in Colorado. At the same time, I don't have those harsh winters like the northern states or the Northeast. And we don't have the humidity. It's dry air here. So overall, I feel like the weather balances out better. I love living in Colorado. I don't know how long we'll live here, but for now, I'm glad that we live here. I've lived here since 2007, over 18 years. I haven't gotten tired of it yet. That is the answer to the question. Not originally from here, but Colorado is definitely my home. Question number 4 is, how did you meet your husband? Now, the interesting thing about my husband and I is he's also not from Colorado. He's actually from the East. He is from West Virginia. We kind of met in the middle, but how did we meet here? We actually met camping. We met on some random camping trip that we were both invited to. No, it was not a setup at all. We just happened to know the same people and we both ended up at this camping trip. It was 2009 and the camping trip mainly was a lot of single people and we just got to know each other there. I mean, it wasn't like love at first sight. There wasn't like sparks flying or anything. That is how we initially met. He eventually started coming to my church. Then one thing led to another. We started dating, we got engaged, we got married, and that all happened within 1 year. We met in 2009 and got married in 2010. Question number 9 is, what was your favorite place you have traveled to? If you're familiar with my channel, you know I love to travel. Travel is my passion. Travel is something I am definitely hoping to do more of. Now, to say what is my favorite place I've traveled to? Well, I'd like to split that up into 2 things. One being the most beautiful place I've traveled to. And I want to say the most beautiful place on earth that I've traveled to and visited is Switzerland. Switzerland is just so gorgeous. Those mountains, I mean, I live in a state with beautiful mountains, but the mountains in Switzerland, the Swiss Alps, it just feels like you are in a whole other world. I mean, you basically are. It feels like you're in a painting. I just absolutely was blown away when I went to Switzerland years ago. I really hope to return to Switzerland. I want to see more of it. I want to see the beauty there again. I could say without a doubt the most beautiful place that I remember ever going and seeing in person was Switzerland. My favorite place that I have been to as far as experiences go, I will say going to Costa Rica. When I did a trip to Costa Rica, that experience as a whole was just amazing. Everything from it being a beautiful place to visit, to the people I spent time with, to the experiences I had while I was there. The whole thing was by far my favorite trip that I've been on. You know, when I think about returning to Costa Rica and trying to relive that whole experience, I don't think it would ever be the same. I'm actually not eager to go back to Costa Rica. I'd love to go back, but I have a feeling that if I go back, it will just never be the same as the great experience I had when I went there. I don't know, maybe if I went there with my family and I got to experience all the fun stuff there with my kids, maybe it would be an even better experience. But it's hard to say. Anyhow, that is the answer to that question. My favorite place that I've traveled to is Switzerland as far as the most beautiful place, and Costa Rica as far as the best experience of a trip that I've had. Question number 6. Did you guys travel with your kids when they were babies or wait until they got older? Yes, we did travel with our kids when they were babies, but there was so many things that I did not like about it, and we learned some lessons that we ended up changing the way that we did trips. Just to explain a little bit about my kids' ages, I have 4 kids. Right now they are ages 13, 12, 10, and 7, and the 3 older ones are very close in age. The 2 oldest are 16 months apart, and then the second oldest and the third oldest are only 2 years apart. So when I did have baby number 3, my oldest had just turned 3. We would always say we had 3 kids under 3. And that was definitely a hard season to do any sort of trips. When we just had 1 baby, that was easy. You know, it was easy taking our oldest when she was an infant and a baby on a trip. But then when we had number 2, we started to see that, oh, this is a lot more work. There's all the stuff you have to pack. There's diapers. There's kids getting sick in the car. It became more work than it was even worth. And then I remember the year when my 3rd child, my son, was born, and we decided to take this one trip that was 6 hours away. And my son, I think, was only 4 months old, but we thought, okay, I think we could do this. A 6-hour drive to get to the location we were going to. It took us almost a full day to drive there. It was crazy, all the things that came up that we did not expect. Again, there was car sicknesses. I remember there was diaper blowouts. You got to stop for feeding and just letting the kids get out and run around. After doing that trip, we realized that we've got to do easy trips while we have 3 little ones, because this isn't fun. It's not fun to be doing these long road trips, even if, you know, once we get to the destination, it's fine once we're settled in. After that, for several years later, we just did trips to the mountains, and our trips were, as far as drive time goes to get there, only an hour and a half. That is what we decided to do for a while, just drive an hour and a half into the mountains, maybe 2 hours at the most, but keep the drive time short and then just get to a destination where you can do something. And you know what? I've thought about doing a whole video on tips and tricks for traveling with little ones and things I've learned from it. Maybe I'll do that for a future video. Yes, we did travel when our kids were babies, but we kept the trips very short, very simple. Then when our kids got older, obviously the age they're at now, it's so much easier, and we are able to do so many more things, travel for much longer hours in the car, could do multiple days in the car. We do like to fly if possible, but it's expensive, you know, with 6 of us, that does get to be very expensive if we need to buy all 6 of us airfare, plus rent a car big enough for us. That doesn't come very often. We usually try to drive to places, at least right now. Next question is, what would be your dream vacation? That's a tough one. Considering I love traveling worldwide, it would be really hard to say for sure what would be my ultimate dream vacation. But if we're talking dream vacation, I would probably say that I would love to go with my husband and my 4 kids and go down to Bora Bora. I have never been down to Tahiti, Bora Bora, South Pacific. I've never been to that part of the world at all. But I've always wanted to go to Bora Bora and stay in one of those little huts, cabins. I don't know what they're called exactly. There's a name for them, and for some reason I'm drawing a blank. I have always wanted to stay on one of those little houses that are right on the water in those little lagoons. It looks so beautiful. It looks so relaxing. That to me would be a dream vacation. I would also insist on flying first class because, like I said, this is a dream. Probably won't happen, but you know, money is no object with a dream vacation. And I would like our accommodations to be big enough for our family with multiple rooms, multiple bathrooms, and I would like it to be all-inclusive. All the meals will come to us prepared, unlimited drinks, and unlimited activities. I would love to do all kinds of exploring on the water or just sit in a hammock right there on the water and relax. To me, a vacation needs to be relaxing. Don't get me wrong, I am a world traveler. I love exploring historical things. I mean, I would love to go back to Europe and explore all kinds of castles and history galore. But if we're talking dream vacation, I want to go someplace where I could relax, because a lot of times those places where there's a lot of, you know, going and seeing sights and everything, you come back from those trips pretty exhausted. I actually would prefer in my dream vacation it to be something relaxing. So yes, it is very extravagant, everything that I have mentioned in this dream vacation, but that's why it's a dream, and a dream is a wish your heart makes. My last question that I'm gonna share right now, what made you guys decide to homeschool? This is a question I get asked all the time. Why'd you decide to homeschool? Have you always wanted to homeschool? The answer to that is no, I never wanted to homeschool. The strange thing is I grew up being homeschooled. It's not like homeschooling was foreign to me or anything. But when our oldest was getting ready to start kindergarten, I thought she would just go to school. But my husband was like, no, I think we should homeschool. I was like, what? Why do you want to homeschool? He grew up in the public schools and he really didn't know anything about homeschooling, but he was really interested in it. A lot of people at our church, they were homeschooling families and they still are. He just got very interested in wanting to do it with our own kids, at least wanting me to do it. He kept saying, I think we should homeschool. I kept pursuing other things. I actually went and registered my oldest daughter at the local elementary school, at a charter school nearby. But then when it got closer and closer, my husband was like, I think we should homeschool. So I decided to consider it. I prayed about it and thought maybe it is something I could do. So I went for it. It has definitely been something I have not regretted. There are so many great benefits to homeschooling. So I'm really glad that I took my husband's lead on this one. I'm not saying that I went into it totally submissive. There was definitely some talks we had back and forth, and I told him I didn't think I was capable of it. But over the years, he has helped me with a lot of the homeschooling as well. And I have learned so much from homeschooling. Definitely, it has been a blessing in our family. It has been just such a great opportunity for us to just be a part of our kids' education. That is how we got started with homeschooling. All right, that wraps up all my questions today. I hope that you enjoyed getting to know me a little bit better, and I certainly appreciate everyone out there who watched this entire video, sat through it, either just played it in the background or actually watched me talk. It means so much anytime you watch any of my videos. It supports my channel. It helps my channel grow. Please know just how much it means to me. And again, I want to thank all of you out there who have subscribed to my channel to help me reach 4,000. And I hope that you will continue to support my channel and continue to watch. If you enjoyed this video or got any value out of it, please hit the like button. Thank you again for watching, and may you have a beautiful day.